The much-anticipated testing phase is here, setting the stage for the upcoming opening race in Bahrain. Excitement is building as fans eagerly await the unveiling of all the behind-the-scenes secrets from the teams. All eyes are on Red Bull, curious to know if they can replicate the success of the previous year. Without further ado, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Let's dive straight into the action and see what unfolds on the track. As the F1 testing kicks off in Bahrain, early insights into the innovation around the Red Bull RB20 have been unveiled, courtesy of Ted Kravitz. Red Bull made waves during the F1 launch season with their bold RB20, which surprisingly shared some features with last year's Mercedes, particularly in the engine cover and side pod area. In their pursuit of staying ahead in the competition, Red Bull has taken a bold step by making radical changes to the side pod area. While other teams seem to be converging towards Red Bull's old design, Red Bull has opted for what could be termed as an overbite. This means that the surface of the side pod inlet extends beyond the main intake, showcasing their commitment to pushing the boundaries of innovation. It's a story of a team determined to maintain their edge in the fiercely competitive world of Formula One. As the focus shifts to F1 testing, all eyes are on Red Bull, the former dominant team, and their new approach, especially considering Mercedes struggles with a similar design. Ted Kravitz, providing insights during F1 testing coverage, delves into Red Bull's side pods and cooling strategy. He raises questions like, how are they cooling it? Where's the air going into the side pods to cool the car? Kravitz reveals, we have our answer. There's a vertical side pod entry, but there's also a hidden side pod air intake just around the O of Oracle, slightly above it on the side pod. He draws comparisons to the previous year, recalling Red Bull's underbite design, where the side pod entry hole was above and went down into the side pod. Well, they flipped that, reversed that, turned it on its head. It's an overbite now. The top of the side pod sticks out, and underneath is where they are taking in air for the radiators to cool. In this unfolding F1 narrative, Red Bull's strategic reversal adds a layer of intrigue to their quest for innovation and performance on the track. With significant changes in design, there's a lingering uncertainty about whether Red Bull can make it work, as Ted Kravitz describes it as a big question mark. Kravitz explains, radiator technology has undoubtedly advanced, and Red Bull has seized that opportunity. They no longer require such large side pod entries to cool the car. However, this is one of the main changes, and it's a big question mark. Will it work? He raises crucial queries. Will those air cooling features resembling Mercedes-like cannons, those big sausages, the cooling cucumbers going to the back of the car like the Mercedes, will they work? Are these new side pods and the new nose going to work? In the unfolding drama of F1 testing, these questions become the central plot points, adding suspense to Red Bull's pursuit of a winning formula on the track. Does the car also have some openings on each side of the driver's helmet? Yes, indeed. It seems this powerhouse is craving for every bit of air it can get. Sam Collins suggests the reason behind this design might be more about practicality, allowing them to have such streamlined side pods without needing to move the driver's cockpit forward as Mercedes did. There's also a speculation that Red Bull, sticking with the more traditional style intercoolers, may need additional air for cooling compared to Mercedes, hence the choice to provide extra cooling through these distinctive inlets. As for the intercoolers, Red Bull used the other traditional ones last year, citing weight as the reason for not switching to the more compact ones used by Mercedes, which are heavier. Although uncertain if they've made changes this year, there were updates mid-season last year, adjusting the side pod inlets as part of a cooling package. If the rumors about Red Bull going for their own version of a zero-pod design are true, changes could be in the works. In total, there are 7 inlets on this machine, adding a touch of wildness to its aerodynamics. Helmut Marko, the motorsport advisor for Red Bull, expressed great satisfaction with the RB20's performance during its first full day of testing in Bahrain. Max Verstappen, who spent the entire day behind the wheel, set an impressive lap time that was 1.1 seconds ahead of Lando Norris in the McLaren. Marko conveyed his enthusiasm, stating, very, very, very impressive. We ran 142 laps without any problems, more or less. The concept is working, and the car responded well to changes. So that was the first main thing. The car is reacting, and we are developing. Yeah, it looks good. When asked about Verstappen's feedback on the car, Marko shared, positive. Whatever changes we did and whatever we tried, the car was reacting. It was more or less fine-tuning, and we all had big smiles on our faces. In this testing, Red Bull seems to have found a winning rhythm with their new concept, leaving both the team and the driver impressed and optimistic. Marko acknowledged that taking such a bold step with a radical change between seasons is always a risk. Comparing with Mercedes, which faced some issues, Marko highlighted that Red Bull's car worked seamlessly from the very first lap, and the team is proud and pleased with the reliability. He also noted, "From what I saw in terms of tyre performance, Ferrari seems to have more problems than us. McLaren appears a bit more nervous. As for Mercedes, I'm not sure what they did. Surely they are faster than what they have shown, but looking at our performance, we can be confident." In this unfolding narrative of testing and risk-taking, Red Bull's calculated gamble appears to be paying off, providing them with confidence and a strong start to the season. When questioned about whether he anticipated rivals making more progress with their cars, Marko couldn't resist a sly remark. He stated, "I think they didn't expect what we would do. The cars all look like ours from last year." Discussing the possibility of other teams copying the RB20's concept, he mentioned, "It takes a while to adopt such a concept." In this intriguing chapter of Formula One, Red Bull's unique approach seems to have caught competitors off guard, leaving them playing catch-up with a concept that requires time to replicate. Verstappen himself was pretty pleased with the new car's performance. He mentioned, "We did a bunch of laps and tried out different things with the car, which was important for us. The world champion seemed happy with how things went." He added, "After the winter break, those first few laps are always a bit surprising, but you quickly get back into the groove of things. Overall, the car responded well, and even though it was just testing, they had a good day." Looking ahead, Verstappen said, "Tomorrow we'll be talking to our engineers about the plans, but I'm excited to hop back into the car in the afternoon. It's like getting a sneak peek into the champion's playbook, testing the waters and gearing up for what's to come in the season." Max Verstappen set the Bahrain track on fire during the first day of pre-season testing, clocking a lap that not only outpaced everyone else by a whopping 1.1 seconds, but also left his own performance from the same session last year in the dust by around 1.5 seconds. In simple terms, Red Bull's on-track preparations for the upcoming season seem to be off to an incredibly strong start. The spotlight was already on the Red Bull RB20 before it hit the track, thanks to the world champion team's unexpected and radical update to the most successful F1 car in history. As the car was unveiled, its bodywork secrets slowly emerged under the watchful eyes of rivals and photographers. Details like the narrow horizontal letterbox slit beneath the side pod top, the radiator inlet area, the vertical slot below, and the distinctive bunny ear extensions around the cockpit began to unfold. The tiny side pods with their substantial undercut, as revealed during the car's launch, were indeed part of the package. Surprisingly, the performance on track exceeded expectations. Verstappen, who dominated the driver's seat throughout the day, covered more than 2 race distances without a hint of mechanical trouble. Despite a few initial hiccups on the dusty track with hard compound tires, once on the grippier C3 compound designated for the race weekend, the car displayed a beautifully balanced performance. The anticipation for Red Bull's season is now through the roof. Over the bumps of the circuit, Red Bull's performance stood out as more composed compared to its rivals. The combination of balance and a steady mechanical foundation suggests that the car could be particularly gentle on its tires. However, it's worth noting that the team didn't undertake significant long-running tests on the first of the 3 testing days. While Verstappen's impressive 1.1-second lead over McLaren's Lando Norris and Ferrari's Carlos Sainz may seem like a massive advantage, it might be a bit exaggerated. This is because Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes didn't engage in as many low-fuel performance runs as Verstappen did. The Dutch driver completed 5, with 2 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, when the track conditions were significantly faster. Verstappen's morning lap was about 0.3 seconds faster than Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin, and only around 0.2 seconds quicker than Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. However, Leclerc achieved this time on his 3rd flying lap after logging up on his initial attempt. Comparing Leclerc's lap with Verstappen's best at that point, the performance profiles of the 2 cars were distinct. The Ferrari held a clear advantage in low-speed turns, while the Red Bull excelled in high-speed downhill sweeps after turn 4, with similar straight-line performance. Mercedes, focusing more on long runs, didn't engage in serious low-fuel runs. George Russell's lower position in the headline numbers doesn't accurately represent Mercedes' efforts. In the afternoon, Lando Norris took over the McLaren from Oscar Piastri and, on his second and final low-fuel run, surpassed Verstappen's morning benchmark. However, Red Bull retaliated by smashing that time on 3 subsequent runs. The battle between these teams is shaping up to be intense and full of surprises. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below.